Hello, everyone, and welcome to State of the Realm. We might be only a week and a half from Ultimate, but there's another hardcore content that I have not stopped talking about in the last several State of the Realms, and that is fish. Something you may just dread more than any clown that you're going to be fighting for 20 minutes. We're going to be talking about big fishing today, ocean fishing, all kinds of fishing today. Might as well get it out of my system with a show on it. I'm one of your hosts, Mrhappy, and of course, swimming alongside me is Sly. How you doing, Sly?
Dreading the show, but I'm alive. I'm here.
Don't worry. I'm sure none of these puns will get you hook, line, and sinker. You can't see his face yet, but the disgust is real. I'm chumming for a faster Sly quit right now. That's it.
Oh,
we are
my
all
God.
set. All right, but we can't just do a fish show with just Sly and I, because I think he might just kill me. So we need an expert to bring on, one of the experts in Final Fantasy XIV fishing. You probably know them if you've ever watched a video on how to catch any fish in this game. We have none other than Fruity Snacks. Hello, Fruity.
Hello, Fruity.
Hi. Thank you for reeling me in here for this week.
Yep. There we go.
Just happy to. I'm feeling fantastic
I'm happy
about this. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna have to get used to
that. And Sly's gone. And that's all it took. That's it.
It took what, 3 minutes?
No.
That was about 90 seconds.
See?
No, he's just going to get the drinks. It's an Irish coffee now. It's an Irish coffee now.
Pretty much. Well, Kentucky coffee. Let's just say that. Sure.
Yeah. Getting a Kentucky coffee going with this one right now. Don't worry. It's Friday, Sly, in California. So you got to have a little bit. Got to treat yourself. You know how it is. But it's good to have you on, Fruity. The entirety of my fish adventures, they've been like, so when you getting Fruity?
I'll have you know that I knew that you started fishing not because I saw or anyone told me, but because I had a bunch of people just go, hey, how does this work? I saw Happy do it. And that's how it started. I was like, oh, Happy must be fishing now. Just there was actually like upticks and stuff.
No.
Look how long it took us to get to this point, right?
Yeah, we'll get into the history of Sly and I and how long he's been trying to get me into to do any fishing at all in any capacity. He's slowly trying to get me into the other facets of the game, but I have achievements now, so you know I don't need Sly to try to push me to do it anymore. Before we get started, though, shout out to our sponsors over on Patreon. All of our content's available for free. We don't pay gate anything, but if you do enjoy the show, consider supporting over there. And also, if you are someone who was once an audio-only listener and you were wondering where the shows went audio-only format, they are back. If you are following the old playlist for State of the Realm, please stop. That one is no longer being updated. Please search either this State of the Realm number, which will be 425 when it's uploaded to YouTube, or episodes 422, 23, or 24. You'll find the new playlist, follow that one, and that audio-only format will be updated anytime that we have a new show. So thank you to all of our patrons for enjoying and for anyone watching and listening.
Now, before we get like really started and really into it, Fruity, like I'm a huge fan of origin stories here. In all of your, playtime of Final Fantasy XIV, what was the exact moment you realized, oh no, I'm becoming the fishing guy or a fishing guy?
So there's a couple of moments that it was kind of like a stepladder on the way up. I've always been a fan of fishing in games, especially in RPGs and MMOs like RuneScape, Guild Wars 2, God, what did I play? A bunch of other games before this. Always been a big fan. So I knew I was going to be a fishing guy. I didn't know I would become the fishing guy. Probably the first time was during Shadowbringers, during the Diadem rankings. They just started it was like, I think it was season 2, I think is what they called it. The second phase when they actually started the rankings for everybody. And a lot of people in the fish court were just like, hey, Diadem, what can we do with that? How does the fishing work? Where are the fish? And so I started tracking stuff in like a spreadsheet. And then that just went everywhere. And I'm standing around in my little town, my little town at the time of Marlborough. And people are like, hey, Fruity, I'm using your spreadsheet. Like, cool, great. And then I started doing videos and people started using that. And then it didn't finally cement in until almost, gosh, it would be 4 years ago almost, or a little over 4 years ago at this point, when the aquarium project started. And it was during a conversation I was having in the fish court, where I was like, a group of people could use FC rooms to display all of the aquarium fish, and it could be like a massive full body aquarium for the game. And it was at that moment when I got literally bullied into managing and making that project happen that I realized I was like, okay, well, I'm kind of locked in now as the guy who does the fishing stuff, so I might as well just own it and just keep running with it. And it's been fun. I don't hate it. I really enjoy fishing in 14. I love the fishing community so much. So I'm happy to be kind of the face of it, and hopefully will do my best today to represent the thousands and or dozens of other fishers out there.
Thousands or dozens.
Now,
depends on the time of day.
Between Happy, starting out with world class troller and the myriad of fishing events we see throughout the community right now, what's the funniest reaction you get from players and non-players when you explain that fishing is hardcore now and has a hardcore community?
I think it's when we start talking about conditions for fish, because typically when you look at like an RPG or an MMO fish system, it's usually like you walk up, you cast out, get a little thing, and then you push a button and reel it in. It's very reactionary. All the fish are available. There's maybe like 5 fish per region. It's a collector's log, like Elder Scrolls Online. It's very much that. But then when we start going, oh yeah, you can't catch that fish until like Saturday, they go, I didn't know Eorzea kept track of days of the week. And we're like, no, real life Saturday at this time. And people are like, wait, what? Hold on. And then you go in to explain, like, yeah, big fish, all 300 and some odd of them now, have conditions where it's like it's either Eorzean time or a weather combination, like a previous and a current weather. And then people start going, oh, that's when the eyes start glossing over and they start processing exactly what we said. It's usually when we start talking about conditions, and that's usually where I see the most surprise, when I start mentioning things about fish like bobgoblin bass, purse of riches, duskfish, ruby, and their downtimes.
Mm-hmm.
That's when the big things start coming up, but people are going like, oh shit, this is hardcore.
Now I'm actually oh, sorry, Sly, you got
no go ahead.
I want to turn, Sly.
Go ahead, yes, please.
So now you mentioned when you became the fishing guy, but I want to go back even further than that, because you were clearly, if you were already doing spreadsheets in the diadem, you were clearly already fishing before that. So how long have you been playing 14, and how much of that time has been spent on the feature, which for those who don't know is introduced back in patch 2.2?
Yes. So, well, big fishing was introduced in 2.2.
Yes.
Fishing has been around since forever.
Correct.
It's not a real game unless there's fishing.
Right.
I started playing. Oh God, I looked into this last week. I started playing probably 2 or 3 months after Heaven's Ward launch. At least on my current account, I did start playing pre Heaven's Ward launch on the old free trial of the critically acclaimed Final Fantasy 14, but that only had the 14 days at the time. In the end of 2014. So I technically started playing in 2014, but officially, quote unquote, started playing in just after Heaven's Ward launch. So I've been around for at least 10, 11 years. And then fishing probably started probably almost immediately. Probably after I got through A Realm Reborn. I have to double check. I think I got, because back then fishing was harder to level because you didn't have ocean fishing. And so it was much slower than the botanists and the miner gathering because it was a little bit harder to grind out. And I think if I remember my achievements, it was like a month or 2 later is when I started actually fishing. So I got myself through, the story, and then I started doing fishing, and then slowly was leveling it up through there. And then in Shadowbringers, End of Stormblood, early Shadowbringers, I started leveling it up to max, and that's kind of when big fishing started taking off too.
Yeah, it's interesting because big fishing back then, basically people knew it in one of two ways. They knew that they either didn't know it existed, or all of their understanding came from one singular quest, and that of Feast of Famine. And the amount of attention around it otherwise was pretty, I'm not gonna say negligible, but it was underground activity. Like people kind of knew it was there, but didn't really know what was there.
Yeah, probably one of the biggest things I get, like one of the biggest thanks that I get from folks when I meet them or just they leave comments or something is thank you for letting me get that quest out of my log. Because which is usually accompanied by some time period that it's been hidden. Like I think I was a friend of mine used the downtime for queuing into like PFs for ultimates. They did fishing, and they were like, after I met you, I was able to clear it after it sitting there for 6 years. So yeah, Feast of Famine is kind of the gateway in, and it really goes under the radar because it's not marked as a blue quest. It doesn't have any sort of indicator beyond it just being a side quest. So it catches everybody off guard on that one.
Yeah.
A couple of minutes ago, you were talking about the windows, and that's one huge thing when it comes to fishing. Windows when they're actually up. For people who don't fish, or for newer fishers, what's the thing that they completely misunderstand about fishing?
Do you want the book or the movie?
I was gonna say that's a loaded question.
There's a lot that goes on because we still have a lot of myths that over the past few expansions, that's the time period that we're like the time scale we're talking on. We've been able to basically remove them from the understanding of the community. Like Patience and Patience 2 doesn't actually impact the bite rate of big fish. That was one of the biggest myths that people had seen. It says like, it helps you catch bigger fish. It makes sense that it's there, but in reality, it actually just makes any fish you catch larger. So there's that. The one that we're dealing with a lot now is can I big fish on other data centers and other servers? And the answer is yes, you can. It's not like botanist and miner. Ocean fishing has gotten a bunch because that's more recent that we've had to go through, and there's still like some resources out there that have like, if you use chum when you see gulls, they have a higher chance of staying, or if you use the release skill when dolphins are there.
I remember that.
Yeah, if you use those, then it has a chance for the dolphins to stay, and that's completely bubkiss. Like, that's pure random. So there's a lot of stuff that isn't clear, but that's kind of the design of Fisher in a way. It's almost it's intentional obfuscation of mechanics to encourage community engagement and conversation. You see this in other games. I think Monster Hunter was the most recent one that I've seen where people talked about like the skills in Monster Hunter were intentionally vague to get people to test and work, and it's a community building skill.
Final Fantasy 11.
Final Fantasy 11. It's very much that type of gameplay. You have a lot of stuff. I fished in 11. We can talk about that briefly.
They have big fish in 11
too.
now. They
They
do.
do.
I did too. I didn't big fish.
They don't
but
have
I
very
did
many.
fish.
It's like very few, but they do have big fish.
It is a small fry compared to 14 fishing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's intentionally obscure to encourage community because at its core, and even like we have a quote from I think Yoshi P, or at least someone at Square Enix, basically saying like, yeah, fishing is meant to be different. It is meant to slow you down, to appreciate the world and the environment of Final Fantasy XIV, and to, you know, chat and work with other fishers so that you kind of build up those fisher myths within the community. And we have those. And it's absolutely one of the reasons why I'm still fishing in 14 is because it is weirdly obscure, but also not. Once you get in there and understand it, it's that's kind of the thing with fishing that's probably the biggest thing too that a lot of people don't realize about fishing is that all of the information that you see about when fish are available, where fish are available, what bait to use, those types of things, a lot of that is community discovered and community tested.
It's funny you mentioned the rumors because I remember when I first ever tried any big fish, which was a long time ago. Like I had like that, like, let me try it once and then pushed it aside for however many years. I saw the skill big game fishing and went, oh, so I've just got to use that.
That one's a fun skill too. And that one, I think someone pointed that out in chat. Like, yeah, that's one of our new skills that are.
Oh my god, that is a level 95 skill. I didn't even realize that was a level 95 skill.
Yeah, it's a level 95 skill, and all it does is that, without going too deep into the weeds, it really just makes any large size fish you caught even larger on the size scale that a fish could be. So it's really only a skill that's good for collectibles, certain collectibles, yellow peacock bass, and I think chain shark, and Moxitral gar. Not Great Gar. Those three are the ones that you want to be using, or you wanted to be using big game fishing on. And then it helps with record sizes as well, which is like a niche part of fishing in 14.
I was going to say, weren't you going for Akupara records?
Yep. Yeah, so the other thing too is that you can use big game fishing to catch larger size fish of any fish you catch, and the game keeps track of the largest fish you catch in each of those biomes. And so we have a list of what the record size fish are. And we got 2 in 7.5. Akupara is the new deep sea fish, which is almost 1,000 ilms long, or 1,000 inches long, which is like 90 feet. And then I think the record right now is like 941 point something, 981, something like that. I have to look it up. And then Vagrant Keeper, which I know, Happy, you're probably going to go for in an hour.
47 minutes?
Hell yeah. That one is the new record for Skies, beating out the now like 10-year reign of Shonisaurus.
So like Raiders, padding their parse, fishers padding their
Their sizes, yeah.
measurements.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah, and so, but that is like a niche part of the community. Like if you like
Mhm.
14 fishing has its moments. Like right now, there is a lot more people who are fishing. Happy, partially thanks to you, thanks to the fact that a new expansion was just announced and it's the end of the expansion. Fishing is pretty much only super popular at the end and beginning of an expansion because that's when people have the time to do stuff
Right.
and or the need to because they're leveling fisher or and whatnot. So we see a huge uptick like almost immediately this year, which was really weird for me at least. Almost immediately we saw 3 or 4 times the amount of activity people in people fishing right as 7.5 dropped, like right after FanFest. And but even then it's still a tiny community. I mean, compared to rating, it's a fraction of the size. Compared to most other things, it's a fraction of the size of the other communities. And so we all even have our niche little sub stuff, and record size hunting is what quite literally I think like 5 or 6 people do.
Hmm.
Hey, but they're having fun, so that's all that matters.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no. I mean, that's kind of the thing with the fishing community too, is like we're not competitive. We are not some folks are completionists. Other people are literally just here because they like fishing in 14, they like the community and they're just having fun, and that's why they're here. That's why a majority of people in the fish court are hanging around.
Now, I actually have a question for both of you, because perhaps you are just kind of got into kind of big fishing more recently. What fish for the both of you kind of became, what was that fish that became your personal kind of villain arc? And then what was the fish that whenever somebody mentions it, the mere mention of it gives you PTSD?
I already have an answer. So, Happy, you mind if I go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
Back in the day, it was Pearl Pipra, which is caught in the red chalice and in the Rocky Grape
I know
Woods.
exactly what's that one is.
Yeah, it is now like this boring old fish. But at the time we were doing this every time new big fish are added, the game does not tell us anything about them. In fact, it's actually they've told us less and less as the years have gone on. And I was doing discovery for Pearl Pipra. I was looking for it. I spent probably 3 days in the red chalice, up to my ankles in that water, trying to catch the Pearl Pipra to see if I could find it. And it was found during a window that I was testing. I did not get a bite, and then promptly did not get a bite for another probably 2 or 3 months. I admittedly, for some of that time, I did leave because I found out later that I tested through like 2 or 3 known windows, and I just didn't catch it, and genuinely frustrated me. And then I came back, I caught it, and everything was fine and dandy. And then when I went to go recatch it on the alts, it was like 2 windows and done. The PTSD fish, though, is no fishing experience for me specifically because I'm weird and I just don't mind catching all the fish. Doesn't matter how hard or evil they are.
Hmm.
But like I was mentioning in the pre-show, sidereal whale is the one where people like will start talking about sidereal whale, and I like go on full alert because when it came out at the end of Endwalker, that is probably, what would I say, like the darkest time in the fish court history because so many people were complaining about it. So many people were frustrated about it because they were like, oh, it's hard to catch. I have to sit in Ultima Thule for like 3 days just to get a chance at it. Because they would jail themselves into Ultima Thule just to get a Felania. And it got to the point where like we ended up having to like kick and ban people for rule violations, and we had to like establish like new rules for moderation because it was just so it was almost like the end singer had won. Like this was like the end singer's final like screw you to the fishing community. Like that's how bad it was. Like the final days were upon us, you would think. And so I had vowed that I was never going to let the community go that bad again. But usually whenever someone starts talking about sidereal whale, I'm just kind of just like, oh, wait, hold on. No, we're not doing this. We're not going back there, guys. Let's process our grief in a healthier way. But
I'll let you know when I
join
that. I'll let you know how I feel when I finally catch that damn thing.
Oh yeah, the melancholy passes as swiftly as it became mentioned in the fish chords so many times. That's the intuition buff for that's when it falls off. It says the melancholy came, or the melancholy leaves as swiftly as it came. It's really bad that I have that one memorized. I don't remember any other intuitions except that one.
The only other one I remember is the rat one for Cherubine.
Oh yeah, it smells like rat.
It smells like rat.
It smells like a rat. Do you know what the refresh is? Like if you
I've gotten it a bunch, but I don't remember what it is.
The stench intensifies.
It's a good one. Filthy rats. That's
a whole other story.
I have a lot of categories here because I've got all my fish divvied up into like emotional categories.
Levels of emotional damage.
Well, it depends on it's what emotion applies. Like, so to be clear, I have 5 big fish remaining in the game. One of them is Vagrant Keeper, which is coming up at 39 minutes, which is not really that bad. I've just had a bad run of it, which given I've caught every other Dawn Trail fish in like 1 max 2 windows, I was due, in my opinion. I caught what's the one in Shaloni, the one that's moochable now, begins with a T.
Takatoa.
Yeah, Takatoa. I caught Takatoa in 2 windows. I caught Lottle in Waiting in like 5 windows. I caught Punity Pain in 2 windows. Like, I've had a really good time with Dawn Trail fish, which we'll talk about later because I know plenty of people who have had very not good times with Dawn Trail fish. Like,
Dawn Trail's been fun.
Yeah, exceptionally odd expansion. Like, clearly the fishing dev is like, I'm gonna teach you guys a lesson. Sidereal whale clearly wasn't enough of a lesson. And like a lot of horror fish, I've had. I caught Elad Scan in 2 windows. I caught Stethocanthus in 1 window. I caught Furcicata in 2 windows. Like a lot of nightmare fish, I kind of just skirted by. And all of my fish that sucked were fish that like have reputations, but are not like the fish. They're not like the sidereal whales. Like, I think the one that frustrated me the most up to this point was Henotus grandis. That's a turtle out in Shadowbringers that has an incredibly long bite time, has another regular Henotus with a super long bite time that's also a triple exclamation, and frequently has other bites that are unrelated altogether. So you're pretty much never excited when you pull the damn thing in. And it took until somebody in my chat went, "You can fish eyes Henotus grandis, can't you?" And then I just sat there with fish eyes over this. I would get 3 swim bait, fish eyes out. And that's how I caught it. I ended up catching it that same day using that exact method. So fish eyes for the win. Fish eyes Henotus grandis gets my vote. Like 100% go do that because that was a pleasant experience compared to sitting there and going every time. Madam Butterfly was another big one back in Heaven's Ward that just eluded me for like the longest time as well.
That one used to be one of the big ones. That actually used to be like one of the big name fish that we would be like, hey, this is going to cause you problems. You should go for it. But it's basically and still continues to be optimized to hell. So a lot of its teeth have been removed, but we used to call it Madam Butt back in the day.
Yep. And Sea Butt. Mm-hmm. Sea Butt I did in 2 windows. Yeah, I did Sea Butt. Armor fish I did in 1 window. Like I've had so many good fish windows that the few I don't have, it's not really fair for me to call them my white whales. Like Lancet fish has slipped once. Okay. Like that doesn't make him the worst fish imaginable.
That happens. Like that is average for Lancet.
Yeah. Sidereal whale, I think slipped once. I'm almost certain it was a sidereal whale and not a Philania that was on my line. And that was after a 20-minute window too. I pulled a Philania with like 30 seconds left and then extended
Then
it
it
by
was
10.
definitely then
Yeah.
then that would have been a whale because Philania would have stopped.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah, it would have
correct.
stopped at 4.
Okay, yeah. So I've definitely had a sidereal whale slip. Cinder Surprise has slipped twice. Ruby Dragon slipped 3 or 4 times. And like those are my remaining fish. None of those stats are bad enough yet for me to say they're my white whale. Whereas Henotus Grandis, I know I slipped Henotus Grandis, and I spent like most of the journey from the moment I finished A Realm Reborn to the current time going to Henotus Grandis windows. So it's like that. If anything, my white whale is Placidus, who I despise with all fibers of my being. And that's an ocean fishing boat. Because I went for Placidus and Stone Scale on my way to 3 million points and never got either of them. So Stone Scale slipped on me the other day. Placidus hasn't bit for me in like a month or longer. So I think the answer for me is Placidus, because I especially have like... I have a longer experience with ocean fishing doing the 3 million points. So that stupid fucking fish wins.
And these are the stories that we get all the time with fishing too, which is what it's almost like the true like fishing experience. Like I caught a fish and it was this big and all that type of thing. But it's just like, how long did it take you to catch a fish? And this is common, like hearing Happy being like, yeah, it's been a month since Placo bite. Like, yeah, that sounds about right. Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to get a little bit deeper now, in regards to fishing, because the whole culture around Final Fantasy 14 or most MMOs is optimizing literally anything in the game, mostly anything in the game. So how insane does fishing optimization get, like behind the scenes?
We could tell you the bite rates of any fish on any bait and the time at which they can bite down to like a decimal point. Because we have resources and tools for that now. So that in regards to optimization is probably the most useful and common thing that we have is bite timing and bite percentage to be like, what's the best bait to use to catch this fish, or like what's the best slap. In terms of other optimization, I think within 2 months of Dawn Trail coming out and these new level 100 skills that we got, we had the multipliers down for that, and then we're already starting to figure out like, okay, which fish would it be good for? When does it become better to use the lures over using chum? Should you use chum and the lures? And now we have the website I sent you, Happy, now has like what is he called? Lure efficiency charts now, so you can see if it's over a certain value, which I think is like 1.6 on the efficiency rating. It's better to use lure than chum. But if it's under, you use chum, don't use lure. We have things. I'm not going to say we are super optimized. We're not like Island Sanctuary levels optimized. We're not like Ultimate Raid optimized, but we are. We're pretty optimized to the point where I could cast out and I could tell you which fish I am about to reel in with almost 100% accuracy. As soon as it bites, as soon as I know it bites, I can go, oh, this is a prison fish, and I can go. And most of the time I'll end up being right. Because that's how much knowledge we have now of how fishing works and and how the fishing holes work.
Where do I get Vagrant Keepers optimization? I've been doing Chum
Vagrant Keeper
on Vagrant.
It's Chum Ambitious with the Vagrant Keeper slap, because that's basically a 0-time slap. That's pretty good. But if you want to, you could use a Zoger Scorpion because it's a higher bite rate, but it's also fine.
Yeah.
Like
okay.
that's the type
what
of thing that we have. And we've optimized enough that like fishing has its own version of limit cut, basically, which is just slap and chum. I compare fishing to raiding a lot because basically every big fish is just a small like mini boss. It's a puzzle that you have to solve every time, and it's gotten to the point where it's like we see what pieces are at the puzzle and we go, oh, that's the solution to it. Like, oh, that's our limit. That's how we do this. This is how we do that. So usually I think like one of the new big fish in 7.5 is moon marking saucer caught in Sonete Jeyunja in Yaktel. That one, I think, as soon as it was found, it was within the first window. I had the strategy guide. I was like, this is how you optimize for it. That's how much experience we have now, and how much reference we have to other fish that we can be like, okay, this is what you do. So we've gotten it down pretty quick, and pretty fast to getting info as soon as the fish is found. That's right now the slowest part, is finding the fish when they're added.
Yeah, it was interesting because this is the only time I've ever paid attention to a discovery process was in 7.5, because there was never a time when I was interested in it prior to 7.5. And it's very interesting speaking to the people who were trying to acquire data points, because effectively they were just like, I need to fish every possible weather condition with every possible bait and any possible mooches, and check any existing fish for changes that they might have that may affect the current fish or the fish that are coming a little bit later. And it was just endless, like, until you've fully eliminated windows and you're sure you have enough data points. And even then they still go back just in case until somebody actually catches it, because you never know. Maybe no one got the bite. Maybe it was just that unlucky the entire time. Like it could be like a pearl papyra for you.
Yeah, it's kind of wild how, like, going back to the, like, when I start talking about how fishing works and people's eyes start glossing over, discovery is like the next thing that will come up, and that happens because, as I've mentioned, new big fish get added, even normal fish get added. We don't know where they are. We can't do, like, there's nothing the game tells us in any way that we could get that information to say, here is the exact conditions for this fish. We have to go and find them ourselves. And even on some of the smaller zones that we had, like this expansion, I'm looking at the 7.4 one because the 7.4 discovery data, because that was the first one that came up. It was still whatever 16 times 9 is, that's 114 potential data points that we all had to test. 21 times to be certain is basically what it was. And there's some rules that we can follow to be like, well, if it's happening here, it can't happen in other ways. But yeah, I think like Cinder Surprise had something like 100 and it had a few hundred potential places that it could have been in terms of weather, time, and bait combination. Because it's all just, at this point, it's all just brute forcing a combination of bait, time, and weather. And so that's why discovery starts getting weird, because it's like, okay, well, we don't know where it is, so people will literally spend days at a single fishing hole throwing bait into the water until they get a bite.
What's even worse about Cinder is you can get the intuition whenever, so you're sitting there wondering what the time frame is, and like, okay, well, I have to trigger intuition over and over and over again, even within the same weather.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we had that for Vagrant. We did that for Esperance Carp last patch, Vagrant this patch, Snuffler last patch. There are like rules. I mean, going back to the optimization part, like there are rules that we know fish follow. Like fishing is consistent in only one way in Final Fantasy XIV, in that it is always inconsistent. But even within that inconsistency, there are rules within it that we can follow. So like if a fish is caught during rain weather, but it isn't caught, say, during clouds, it could still be caught in anything else. But if it's caught in if it's caught at like a certain time but no other time, then we don't have to test any of those other times because we know it's not going to bite during that time. And if it doesn't bite during a certain weather, then we don't have to test that weather anymore, or that weather combination. So it's like we have these rules that we can follow to kind of help speed up discovery a little bit. But even then, it's still brute forcing it. And it takes, I think this expansion or this patch took 8 days to find all the new big fish. And we're still
It was
testing
only 8 days? I thought
was
so
only
much
8 days this
longer
time
than
around.
that.
No, I mean, 8 days is about what I would have expected for a 7.5. 7.4 was the outlier because of purse. Which, well,
Yep.
but purse is the longest discovery period for any modern discovery. If we go back to Heaven's Ward era, like a Realm Reborn Heaven's Ward, the longest was 45, 46 days for Bob Goblin Bass, yeah. But much different conditions under that point.
Yeah, very different skills, and also we didn't have everything we have now. I'm sure. I don't know. I guess the question is, and I don't know if you know this offhand, do you know how many windows for Bob Goblin were missed in those 45 days before it was discovered, out of curiosity?
I think a few. Somebody else, I did not, because obviously I had just started, so I wasn't doing discovery back then, but one of the other fishers in the fish cord has been fishing since 2.2. Like he is the oldest fisher that I know of in the game, or that I personally know, at least in the game, and he would know that because he kept track of all those things. And I think there might have been one or two, but also the amount of people who were doing searching, the discovery process back in Heaven's Ward was completely different. It was not as centralized. It wasn't, even before Discord, they were using Google Chat in the spreadsheets for like Stormblood discovery, and that's what they were using early on to talk about things.
You know, it's kind of surprising to me to hear that, because I did the sightseeing log discovery when that came out in A Realm Reborn, and that felt very, very involved. Maybe because it wasn't as intimidating as fishing was. It was, bro, we got to find a spot to stand on and a time and emotes, and that's it. So go stand there, and and anytime the weather changes, pop like 3 or 4 emotes, and so let's just let us know.
Yeah. I mean, it was kind of similar, but that's how that worked. And I mean, fishing hasn't really changed much, and it is probably now still one of the most, if not the most, unique aspects of non-combat content in 14. If not of all content in 14.
Now, in regards to optimization, a little bit further, or maybe less so, because I feel like when you talk about collectible fishing and you talk about big fishing, two completely different monsters. When you talk about the how does the optimization compare with collectible fishing and big fishing? Because collectible fishing seems like it's kind of a shorter deal in terms of optimization. It's kind of like once the expansion starts, you pretty much almost have all the knowledge immediately, whereas big fishing takes quite some time to gather all the data.
I just want to say my only opinion on this is fuck that one spearfish in Upper Lenosha. Fuck that guy. And that's all I have to say. Yeah, fuck that one fish. I know he's not a mandatory collectible fish, but he was for me because I needed him for the fucking fuck Noshasaur. Fuck that guy. All right.
Him and Tebiek Smelt were the first two spearfishing intuition fish we got in Endwalker. But when it comes to optimization between big fishing, where you're going for like one specific fish, usually once, and collectible fishing, which is what you're going to be doing for long periods of time. Yeah. The optimization typically is the same because the goal is to get the maximum amount of casts per window. Now, if you have a fish like Condor, like Zogre Condor caught in Shaolani, which is kind of like the go-to always up orange script fish, you start looking at how can you optimize for longer periods of time. So you're looking at how you change, like your GP is changed like how you use your GP is managed a little differently.
Mhm.
But you're still looking for what's the straightest line to get a very confident bite, to know like, yes, this is definitely a fish that I want to reel in and actually then be able to reel it in. That is the same throughout both big fishing and ocean fishing. Ocean fishing, big fishing, ocean fishing, and collectible fishing. But it's with collectibles, we usually keep like GP rates in mind, and then the one fisher I was mentioning earlier, his name's Teodo. He will go through and literally spend, I think, 16 hours at each of the notable script fish at the start of an expansion and measure his rates fishing optimally once we know what that optimal pathway is. And then he will determine from there, here's the rates that I'm getting. And that's how we know like Zoger Condor is the best to go to unless Copper Shark is up, because then Copper Shark gets you more script per minute when you're fishing optimally. And then with that information, we can then go back and say, okay, for the people who don't know how to fish optimally or don't feel like doing that for long periods of time, which fish do we actually recommend? And so that's why Condor is there, Copper Shark is there. Hydrolavar is a fish that you probably have no idea of what it is, but you might have heard it's big fish gondola lavar. Hydrolavar is another orange script fish that actually is a pretty good script fish, but it's very focused and very technical, so we never recommended it. And then same thing for like purple scripts, where it's like we recommend going to Fleeting Brand because that's back in Endwalker, but technically you could do these other ones instead, but they just require more focus. So yeah, I think I gave you way more answer to that than you were expecting, maybe.
Oh no, that's it. That's the answer I was looking for. No, that's yeah.
It comes down to balancing, because this is the one thing too that I acknowledge, and like the fishing community acknowledges, sometimes people just don't want to fish and they have to. And so we're gonna make sure, like, we are more than happy to give you what would be like the equivalent of like a brain dead strat, if it means that you can get what you need and get out, so that you actually have a little bit of fun to do that. And I know I used the term brain dead, but that was the first thing that came to mind. I'm
Not
so sorry.
the brain dead fishing PF strats.
Yeah, the PS strats.
Yeah, I mean, hey, if you want to fish at start of 8.0, we might be able to name one a happy strat for you.
I don't even want that.
Not,
They better not use the name happy in any fish. I think all big fish have avoided the word happy thus far.
Yes, but the fishing community is super welcome to anybody who's like, look, I gotta catch this fish, I need some scripts, but I hate fishing. What can I do? And people will pretty much say, here it is, and they will just give you the step by step. Just repeat this ad nauseum until you're done, and then move on, and that's it. And so we acknowledge that people don't like fishing often in 14, and so we try and be a little accommodating to that with like guides and stuff, like especially with like my guides as well too.
Hi guys, welcome to the Hector lecture surprise for a Cinder surprise. Yeah, we're gonna get that pretty much soon. Yeah,
just a bunch of pictures of eggs. There's just eggs.
All these eggs everywhere.
Buy a dozen eggs and take 2 out, and then paint one, and then throw it against the wall to simulate it slipping. That's how it feels.
Now, now I want to kind of talk about the kind of fishing community in comparison to something like raiding, or hell, we can even compare it to the other gatherers, both botany and mining and crafters at the same point, because it feels like in regards to crafting and mining and botany, it's a little more, I would say competitive, because when you're talking about that, you're talking about pretty much money. I mean, there is money in fishing too, but I wouldn't say it's as competitive as, you know, crafting and mining and botany. And then of course you have raiding. So fishing in 14 feels relatively more wholesome than
Oh yeah.
all those communities combined. Why
Yeah,
why did both of you think that is?
Well, it's because you're not at the fishing hole being like, oh, this fucking asshole doesn't catch it and undercut me on the market board when he's like, it's kind of strange that like I'm gonna throw a number out there that's completely unsubstantiated that 98% of the fish in this game have no purpose. That's it.
It's actually you're not. I actually did a number check on that back in probably Endwalker at this point, so I'm out of date by a few years. But if you count Leave Fish, Aquarium Fish, Crafting Fish, Guild Company, like Grand Company turn-ins, Quest Fish, and fish that can desynth into something that isn't just like materia or
Sand.
a thing of gold or some like random
Sand.
tool, it ends up being close to 50% of fish actually do something. Now the rest of the 50% of the fish they don't, and a lot of the time they're big fish. So it's not that they don't have a use, it's that they don't have a long-term use that really matters outside of when you're leveling.
Yeah, it's just interesting because like sometimes a raid food needs it, and like obviously those then go for a time. But most of the uses compared to like mining and botany, every single material is being used as part of crafting and making something else.
Or something.
Yeah. Fish, it's like if it's one of a couple of different possibilities, and there's not much overlap between them. Like I don't need, crackling flounder for anything except for the fact that I'm working on my Grand Company turn-ins. Like I don't need those for anything else. Looking back to Papira Piras, that used to be used for a raid food.
Yep.
But then nobody talked. Then what about all the other fish that were there?
Yeah.
It's
a lot of them are just fillers. I mean, you have like prints, but even then, a lot of the prints are just the same. Like, because a lot of the fish share the same icons. They're slightly different colors. Sometimes they're not. And so they all have their own individual prints that you could use, but it's housing, which not everyone has access to. There's the aquarium fish, which they don't all have stuff, and you're not going to be able to display all of them at once. Technically, now I don't even think any of the Aerosian aquariums, maybe R1 on EU, but the aquarium on Crystal has actually hit a point where we can't display every single aquarium fish because it would require us making like one extra room for one fish for one zone, and it's like it's not worth the time or effort to put Esperance carp into a room by itself. So yeah, but to a degree, that's kind of fishing's thing, is that they exist to give you that thing to catch, and that's about it. Because fishing, like I said, I can't remember where or when the quote was from, but it was before the 2.0 launch when Yoshi P was talking about what Fisher was going to be. And he was like, yeah, this is different from botany, different from mining, different from the crafting, because it's meant to slow you down and be something different to do where you can just chill out and enjoy the environment. Like, it is designed to be slow. And it's sped up since then a little bit, but yeah, so that's kind of why none of the fish have a reason to exist beyond just being a thing you catch. Or maybe they eventually become aquarium fish.
Yeah, it was pretty hilarious to see them be like, Purse of Riches is now an aquarium fish, and you're like, dude.
God, that made me so... I genuinely started laughing when I saw that, because we were at FanFest when that was announced, and I woke up at like, oh God, it would have been like 2 or 3 in the morning at that time, because I was still jet lagged, even after 4 or 5 days at FanFest. And I woke up and I looked at the fish court, and a bunch of people were adding me saying, Fruity, they made Purse of Riches an aquarium fish. And I just had to stifle a laugh so I didn't wake my friend up. And I was just like, oh God, here we go.
My immediate reaction was like, there might be some guild to be made.
There was
maybe,
actually.
maybe I should go to all my
Hmm.
Purse of Riches windows from now on.
I think it's the second or third most valuable fish now.
Yeah, I think the other one. So when I did my, so the way I did my big fishing is I did all the Realm Reborn and then I did everything else. Like I didn't do it like by Heaven's Word I didn't want to start losing windows to like later fish that were rarer. And in a Realm Reborn, that's where I made like 3 or 4 mil off of the decents from a Realm Reborn. It's interesting that that didn't continue to really be a thing, is to stick some like glams in some of the big fish.
Yeah, I'm looking at like some of the prices. Purse of Riches might actually not be that expensive now. It looks like it's crashed a lot, but even then, like it's fishing. Going back to what you were saying, Sly, like fishing, you can make money on it, but it is slow money. It is if you want quick money from fishing, you do sands like for the first week that it comes out. Crafting foods when that first comes out, like Jinga shrimp, I think it was, or something like that. Jinga curry had a shrimp, Thavnarian shrimp or something. Calamari were like one of the two, and Endwalker. I sold those for like a week, made a few mil, moved on. I was fine. And but it's slow, and a lot of people come in and say, "Hey, I just leveled Fisher to 100. How can I make money?" And we're just like, "Haha, you don't."
Thank you, Omni Man.
Yeah. And yeah, it's very slow going. It's a very slow paced moneymaker if you decide to go that route.
What, you mean you don't go for Warden of the Seven Hues every single time it has a win?
Aquamaton's better value now.
Oh my god. I don't want to talk about that stupid fish either.
And kind of getting back to the community aspect, and this is for both of you. Do you think fishing attracts a kind of different personality player compared to something like raiding or PvP?
No.
The overlap of, I know what I want to say, but how am I going to transition into the other thing I want to say is the big question. The joke is the overlap of the fishing community and the raid community. That Venn diagram is basically a circle. Because you have, I mean, Happy now, whoops. Exu is fishing.
There's a lot of us.
There's a lot of raiders who are fishing now. A lot of like the big streamed raiders are fishing. I have heard multiple times people pausing prog on like week 1 because like Cinder's up or something. You get a lot of that, but with fishing though, the community that we moderate in the fish court at least is a completely different beast from what you might see in like a raid server. It's a completely different environment. So you couldn't tell that it's like a raid dominated community. Everyone's doing Savage. Everyone's doing ultimates. We have plenty of people who are talking about doing like UMAD when it comes out. And you couldn't tell, like this is like it was full of raiders because everyone, as you were saying, it's kind of wholesome, it's chill, everyone's pretty relaxed, and so like we kind of do our best to moderate the community into that way as well, to kind of keep it there of like, hey, this is the cool off spot, this is the relaxing spot, just come and have fun.
Yeah.
So yeah yeah, so it's a circle.
Yeah, the overlap. I think the big thing is generally if someone is like really committed to spending long periods of time to completing one goal, they're far more likely to do it for something else, and that ends up translating pretty directly to actual like big fishing as well. So it's like a lot of raiders are competitive with themselves when they're raiding, and fishing you're pretty much competing with yourself.
Yeah, and with fishing too, because it isn't something that say is like trying to think of comparison here, like triple triad cards. So you were doing that today.
Yeah.
It's not like with triple triad cards where it's like, I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks doing nothing but triple triad. You can do that with fishing, but then the fish are just going to stop you. And it becomes something that you do in the back end of things. It's kind of like when you have downtime, like in between, PFs filling up, or, while you're waiting for a queue to pop, like it becomes, fishing is very much like an undercurrent activity where you do it when you have the free time. You don't actively choose to go out and do it unless you're like me or the maybe dozen or two of us who actually like spend more time fishing than anything else. But we usually have reasons for that, like getting resources together.
I mean, you say that it's something you do on the side, and I'm busy looking at this Cinder surprise at 1:50 a.m. on Thursday, and
Don't do it.
I guess
Don't
that's
do it.
technically spare time,
I'm very much a proponent of unless it's within an hour of when you would wake up or go to sleep, it's not worth getting up for.
If it was,
But that's just me.
If it was a different, I think there are like, I would never wake up early for a sidereal whale. Like even if I prepped it the night before, I wouldn't wake up for sidereal whale. But like something like Cinder is like so quick to prep, so the window's over so quick that like I can afford that in my head. Like Ruby Dragon's tough in my opinion to wake up for, because you're not waking up like 10 minutes before, you're waking up 30 minutes before and then spending 45 minutes doing it. So
just stay up tomorrow until 10:40 and then
I'm doing that, don't worry.
until Thursday.
But I mean, there's 4 days later if I don't have Cinder surprise tomorrow night.
Then you just do 6:10.
What, 6:10?
On the next Thursday.
Yeah, but then I can have two chances that day.
And this is the type of person that we run into a lot, Sly, when we're fishing is when you're like, yes, but then I could have 2 attempts at it if I wake up early. And we're like, it's not worth it, buddy.
I just go back to honestly, the worst part is I live in a house with 5 cats, and when I wake up, they're like, so the day has started, and I'm like, no.
No, it does not. I live with 1 cat. I cannot imagine 5.
Yeah, I tried waking up. What time was it? I don't remember. I think I tried waking. Yeah, I woke up at 4 a.m. for a Cinder attempt, and my cats ruined the rest of my morning, and subsequently Sophie's morning. Because they're all activated at that point.
Now, between the fish cord, hearing Happy stories, there's kind of this campfire storytelling vibe to the community, kind of like real life, honestly, when you kind of get fishers together and they talk about their catches and their day on the boat and whatnot. People sharing in 14, people sharing like the windows, the horror stories, all that jazz. Why and how do you think that culture formed with fishing?
I think part of it is because it's designed to. I know I keep harping on that, but that is, kind of the thing that happens. But also, as people are sharing it in chat, it's just shared trauma.
I played an entire MMO that was shared trauma, so yeah, I can vouch for that.
It's basically, it really is kind of like a support group, but in a not like a we jokingly say like shared trauma, communal suffering, but a lot of it is we all have caught those fish and we've all had those fish that just are a pain in the ass, and it is something that has just become like okay, I understand, let me help you, because it can be weird, it can be confusing, it can not make sense, and we all want people to be able to actually fish. Like we like fishing. We will happily tell you what you need to do to be able to start fishing. Because we like it when more people fish, because that means there's more people at the fishing holes to talk to, or in some cases ignore, if you don't want to talk, and those types of things. So it's kind of just like this group self-help type thing, like a group, like a community support type mentality that's kind of come out of, if you're here to help, we'll help you. If you need help, we will help you. If you want to help, we'll tell you where to go. We're just helpful.
Never underestimate what it's like to get a bunch of people together to actively just share in their demise. Final Fantasy XI was built on that, dude. Running around Lower Juno is like, listen, I have nothing better to do. I might as well just gamble. Like that's it. Just I don't care. Here, roll over 667, win 2 times my bet here. I don't care. Just I got nothing else anymore.
Yeah, like looking at like Discovery, like when we're looking for fish, looking at Purse of Riches, which probably has the most complete coverage of is the fish here or not, statistically speaking, for us. In the window that it was caught, 116 people reported whether or not they caught anything. Like that's how many people are there. And in the alternate windows where it could have been, like where it might have been, there was easily dozens and dozens and dozens of people. Like the lowest number is like 67. Haha. Of people who were just like, yeah, I am going to potentially throw away 23 minutes of my time just to make it so that other people don't have to. Or in some cases, I'm going to spend 23 minutes on the off chance that I might be able to catch this fish and never have to deal with it again. But even then, we still welcome the help.
Just had to be that number of people. Just had to be that number of people.
I didn't write the numbers. And that's just North America and Europe. Sorry. That's just the English speaking community.
Do you have numbers on JP?
I think JP might be slightly included into this as well, but I know that when China got involved, that number went way up, and now for 7.5 we had Korea join as well. And so Korea, if I can remember what the 7.5 one is, with the Korean numbers, like we saw even more numbers. Nothing as close as Purse of Riches, because Purse is an absolute anomaly. But I mean, it was still higher numbers than usual, because now we had a truly global, with actually, I take that back, one region, which was the Taiwanese region, I don't think is up to date yet, but all the other regions were all looking for fish at the same time, sharing data, and it was huge. First time in patch 7.5, so we were seeing dozens and dozens of reports.
So fundamentally, fishing is all about patience. Haha, fish pun. Haha, timing and kind of timing, failure. Do you think that's part of the reason why people get, this emotionally attached to it?
Hooked.
Get hooked is the proper term.
Yeah.
Reeled in, if you will. Yes, I think that's some of it. We've seen kind of opposite of that. We see a lot of people who are working on like achievements. They'll come in and they're like, I'm just going to help you find this because I want to get it done, like I was saying, and that's fine. Couple of cases where it hasn't been, but that's something else. But yeah, I think a lot of people kind of come in to do it because they want to get that done, and then they kind of just stick around because they're like, well, I put this much time in and it was fun, I might as well just keep going, see what happens, and just kind of go with it. I think a lot of people stick around for the community, because not only do we have these events of looking for fish, but we have people who are like, Happy, you've been doing like special boats for ocean fishing to go specifically for achievements. Like we have those daily. Almost every ocean voyage will have at least one party somewhere doing something. I host events multiple times throughout the year. Like we had Fish Fest back in February. I have the Derby coming up in November. We have a lot of like those types of events that we do, and we've started seeing people besides me doing events as well, which is great to see. So there's a lot to do, and it's a lot of fun. And as we kind of keep saying, it's a chill place to just kind of come. And if you need to wind down and you just need something that is quieter, but still in 14, fishing's a good option. It's less complex than Mahjong.
A little bit. Vagrant just slipped
definitely.
again, by the way. Slipped again. That's 8 slips now. 8
No,
slips
going
on Vagrant.
Now going back to the overlap between fishers and raiders, when you talk about fishing, like in comparison to getting that ultimate clear, the prestige isn't as big, you would say. Yet fishers dedicate thousands of hours to it. So what does that say about, how players create meaning in fishing in 14?
I think because of how the mythos of fishing has grown over these past however many years it's been since A Realm Reborn launched, whatever it is. What are we in 12 now? 12th year? 13th?
13th.
13th. There is this level of fishing just being a hurdle. Like this is like no other challenge in the game. It is not just a challenge of skill. It is a challenge of knowledge and patience. Yeah, patience doing a lot of the heavy lifting. And to your point, I think that because of that, because it is not something that everyone wants to do, and because it is such a huge hurdle for some people to do, it continues to carry this like level of prestige of like, if you have final fish, like that's still one of the rarest achievements in the game. I think it's only beat out by, if we ignore like new achievements, I think it's beat out by like Bunny Blessed and Necromancer.
And Mal has
Luckiest
that
of
achievement.
Lords and Ladies isn't rarer than that. I could have swore Luckiest.
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, I think Canal Lords and Ladies might be as well, and then it's definitely top 5, I think, at worst top 10. But it is one of the rarer achievements, is catching all the big fish.
And Mal has that achievement, Happy?
Mal has every achievement in the game. There's nothing Mal doesn't have.
So it's I think that's kind of it, is like it just has this perceived hurdle that is a giant hill you have to climb. And what people don't realize is that hill now basically has a stairway, an elevator, and maybe even a gondola ride up to the top to help you get there. And so once that starts to become more apparent, that I think some of that mythos might dip a little bit. But a lot of people will still look at it and go, you've spent hundreds of hours staring at water. I'm impressed.
or clouds.
Or clouds, or lava,
yeah.
or the vastness of space. Like, or chemical spills. Like, take your pick. You have that, and so I don't think it'll ever go away, but I definitely could see where it becomes a little bit more common, especially with the tools and resources that we're getting as a fisher and what the community's making. We're definitely trying to make the barrier of entry into fishing a little bit easier.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it hasn't seemed like I've been doing this for like 3 weeks now. I did a Realm Reborn like 9 months ago, and I did every Realm Reborn fish, and then basically stopped. I think I did Warden of the Seven Hues after that, and then that was it. It was like all the Realm Reborn, and then Warden of the Seven Hues, and then I didn't do anything for a while. And it's like, I mean, it's been pretty laid back and simple. The bigger thing is just sometimes you just have a day where when you're working on it, when you get like 10 fish, and then sometimes you get a day where you just get 0 fish, and there's nothing you can really do about that.
Yeah. And the sooner you get into fishing and accept that, the much more enjoyable it becomes. One of the things that I'll always say about like when people want to get into fishing, or they're like hearing only the horror stories like Purse of Riches, Cinder Surprise, Ruby Dragon, Sidereal Whale, Lancet Fish, like the big three, they like if that's all they're hearing, you get like a really negative look on it. But really, if you go into fishing and you're like, I'm just here to have fun and just do whatever, you are going to get that out of fishing. If you put negativity into fishing, you will get negativity out. It is very much a mirror of how you're feeling that day.
But when you talk about, you know, fish like Purse of Riches and Cinder Surprise and all these rare fish, do you think the rarity of certain fish kind of creates memories that in a way that, you know, modern loot systems in most games today don't?
Oh, yes. And I don't think it's necessarily the fish itself in some cases. Like Ruby Dragon does, Furcicata does, Sidereal Whale will, as individual items. Like those aren't rare in window, but they are rare in bite. Then you have fish that are like Duskfish, Deep Haunt, Bobgoblin Bass, and most recently, and now most notoriously and famous, Purse of Riches, which has the rarest possible uptime for any fish in any zone. Those are the ones that also create their own little stories in their own way of it's a difference between I have that rare item and I was there for that type of thing. I think Purse of Riches, for those who don't know, the long and the short of it is weather has rarity in Final Fantasy XIV, and I'm not going to do a deep dive into the weather because that's a whole other thing, but it isn't an equal chance for the weather to spawn. So in Tuliyola, it is a 5% chance for rain to happen at any time the weather transitions, which is every roughly 23 minutes or 8 in-game hours. So it has the rarest combination of a 5% chance into a 5% chance at a specific time of date, which is 0.25% divided by 3, which is like what, 0.03 or something like that chance of spawning, which has led to it having a 92-day real day downtime starting August 1st of this year, where it will not be available to be caught at all through the month of September, October, and August, I guess, technically. And so that starts creating stories. That starts creating the genesis of people going, yes, well, I got up at 4 a.m. to go catch this because I wasn't going to wait until August 1st to try my chance. I'm going to do it this way. It's like, oh, I caught 3 in that window. It's like, oh, I've been five windows dry and I haven't even seen it yet. You get this whole conversation going around this one fish, and then multiply that by the, I don't know, 10 other fish that could have that conversation, and you start building up those communities and those stories and those legends that start happening.
I want to take this opportunity talking about Purse of Riches to do 2 things. One, for any curious about that August 1st breakpoint when it goes away for 92 days, from now until August 1st, there is a window this coming Wednesday at 10:16, so 5 days from now that you're watching this. After that, it will be gone for 10 days again. Then it'll be gone for 3 days. Then it will be gone for 12 days. Then it'll be gone for 1 day. Then it'll be gone for 17 days. Then it'll be gone for 1 day. And then it'll go away for 20 days. And then it goes away for 90. So it goes from a 20-day vacation to a 90. It's 6 minutes out of 112 days, effectively.
That it's up for one moment.
It's available for 6 minutes out of 112.
A third of a year. A third of a year. You get it for 6 minutes. I have been doing this fishing stuff for a while. Purse of Riches has created its own stories and legends and its own shenanigans, the likes I have never seen. I have never seen a response to a fish like I have with Purse of Riches, because it hits all of those things that I've been talking about. Of like, it has the rarity, it has the wait, fishing can do that type thing of where people, you start talking about their eyes gloss over. It's like, wait, you can, you mean 90 in-game days? No, 90 real life days. It has the stories from the individual fishers of like, I spent a week there. I think I spent a grand total of like 9 hours over a week just streaming me sitting in Tuliolwal at High Tide Harbor trying to catch this fish, of trying to find it when we were looking for it on days like 21 to 24 or something. And it was just a perfect storm of all these conditions to make fishing like apparent, because usually fishing does kind of sit below everything, and we don't mind that as a community. Like, we're okay with fishing sitting down below everything because that lets us get away with this absolute crazy stuff. But every now and then a fish happens, and then it comes up to the surface, and that's where you start seeing like Purse of Riches come up again, and bobgoblin bass and stuff like that.
I want Square, and by want I mean don't do this. I want I want Square to release a gacha box of tiny fish plushies, and it's just like a 1 in 200 chance that it's Purse of Riches.
I was going to do that at FanFest this year. I was going to make, because I hand out trading cards, and I was going to bring all of my trading cards that I had some spare, but I was going to print one Purse of Riches card, and I was just going to throw it into that pack of 200 and then just let people blind draw and see if they get the one Purse of Riches. It's funny. Good. At Square, you could make money off of fish merch. I'm just telling you this now. People will do it. People will buy it.
Rare fish merch. So yeah. I was gonna segue the Purse of Riches thing into something else. Purse of Riches is the most severe example of what a fish window can look like. But one thing I've noticed, and has definitely been a frequent discussion, is that Dawn Trail has been relatively rude overall in regards to fish uptime.
There's the conversation I was hoping we could spend a little less time on, because it's yeah, so Dawn Trail
they're spending
fishing.
less time on it because the fish aren't available very often. So.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure why we're surprised, because they did say that they wanted to move everything to a weekly basis. That's a joke. That's a joke for everybody. Yeah, so especially with Purse of Riches, patch 7.4 was the big highlight for us of fish infrequency is what we ended up calling it, because of like the fish that have the longest time between windows. 3 or 4 of them are from patch 7.4. That's Purse of Riches, Datniotes Aeroplanos, Heirloom Gold Grouper, and Punity Pain. Datniotes Aeroplanos was actually going to dethrone Bobgoblin Bass, the current downtime king, for like sometime next year. And Heirloom Gold Grouper has a longer average downtime between windows than Cinder Surprise and Bobgoblin Bass, which average around 5 days. Going back to the optimization parts, this is what we started getting into this patch. Was like, on average, the time between windows for Cinder and Bob were about 5 days. For Heirloom Gold Grouper, it's about 7. It's around 5 or 6 for Punity Pain. And so there's been a lot of downtime fish. But if you go and look at all of the downtime and you kind of average this out, and somebody actually did this in the fish cord, Dawn Trail, if you don't include Purse of Riches, as of patch 7.4 or 7.5, all of the fish, you take all those average days between downtimes, has a higher average than any other expansion. You throw in Purse of Riches, and then all the other ones just get obliterated. but we did see that they have gone with more of a downtime design for fish this time around compared to Endwalker, which was more uptime. Shadowbringers was the last time we had a long downtime fish, so it's not surprising that they've done this. Shadowbringers would have had the second longest average downtime of all fish, so I'm not personally that surprised that we're seeing it, but it is higher than Shadowbringers right now. So in that sense, if you find downtime to be a mean mechanic for fishing, then yes, Dawn Trail is definitely a rough expansion for you.
To give everyone an idea, I remembered hearing about Dat Neotes Aeroplanos. It's coming up tomorrow at 2:35 p.m. Then it'll be gone for 5 days, then 11 days, then 6 hours. Nice. Then 4 days, 7 days, 8 days, 5 days, 9 days, 1 day.
Yeah, a lot of downtime for fish in Dawn Trail is measured in days rather than hours.
Notice.
Which is just a thing that this was kind of another thing that's come up and been a big topic in Dawn Trail is window frequency, and like, you know, is it good? Is it bad? Why are we doing this? Why are they doing it this much? Like, what's their point? Blah, 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 blah. And that's a whole other conversation. But they definitely decided to go with we're just going to put more fish in between for whatever reasons they have. Maybe they actually did want people to not feel like they had to fish all the time. Like they didn't have to chain between fish and they were only doing fish. Maybe they wanted other people to do stuff. Maybe they heard our feedback in Endwalker saying, no, these fish are way too easy and not very exciting. Give us something with more interest, which I think they did. Like, I think Dawn Trail is still one of the best expansions for fishing in general, even with this downtime. So yeah, there's a lot to unpack there. That's a whole other hour or two of conversation. We're not going to go too deep into that.
Well, I guess the big thing is does it take away? So a lot of fish have, I'll call it personalities in a sense.
Yes.
Which,
see that.
Given that, like, you know, you have fish like the unconditional, which has conditions, he's known.
He's one of the most conditional fish at the time of its release.
Yes, one of the most conditional fish. Like, he's barely, like, his traits are like the availability is really short. He bites really often, but he slips really often. So he's kind of like you'll probably get it, but you know, nothing's ever certain.
You'll get him
beneficial.
eventually type fish, yeah.
Yeah, and then you've got a fish like Lancet, whose entire personality is actually based on a different fish being a jerk instead of Lancet himself, who, when he can be a jerk, but he takes the slack of the fish that comes before him. And then you've got Stethocanthus, whose entire personality is Pearl Eyes biting way too often, and the Sculptor becomes this like mess. Do you think that when every fish is effectively, I'm available for 6 minutes, 8 days, does it just feel like just less personality with the fish? Because that's my only real gripe with it. It feels like all these fish have the same personality.
I agree with that. That was something that I've been noticing, and I haven't said much about it because I am waiting for the legends to come out in 7.55 or 7.56, whichever patch it'll be, and before I really jump in and say like this is what I'm thinking. But I have noticed that of like, and I should say it's not just me. Like a lot of the other higher up fishers are looking at these fish going, oh, it's just another 2-hour, 5-minute intuition fish. Oh, it's just this other mooch fish. Like, talking about optimization and shared strategies, there's like 5 or 6 fish that were added across the entirety of this expansion that are in different holes. They're different uptimes. They all have roughly the same strategy. Like, and so it got repetitive after a while. And I don't think we had any intuition fish that went, like, they were all roughly 5 minutes or so. I think maybe Giga Giant Snakehead wasn't, but they're all 5 minutes and they're all 2-minute windows, which is roughly 5 minutes. So it's like some of that personality was gone. The other types of personality that we have, which is what we kind of commonly use with personality discussions is like, how slippery are they? How shy are they? How often are they up? We've had slippery fish. We've had shy fish. We've had fish that don't ever really show up. So like in that sense, we've had a lot of personality, but within the fish themselves and their conditions, it's been basically pretty samey. And we want to talk about like how everything uses red maggots if it's caught in fresh water. Like, so there is that. So it is by far not the perfect expansion, but coming out of Endwalker, it is light years ahead. But it's still and even then, it's still been a very good expansion for fishing.
Yeah, there are definitely some non-legendaries I think hold really good personality, especially looking back at A Realm Reborn. The Salter is one of the few big fish that's a 1 exclamation mark bite instead of a triple.
It's the only fish that's a 1 exclamation point. Or
the only other one that's not a triple is Little Paracos, which is ironically enough in the same zone. It's a double,
yeah. And is also a Stormblood fish. It's technically not a Realm Reborn fish, oddly enough.
Yes, it's a 4.0. I learned that. I cleared all the Realm Reborn fish, and I was like, why is there an entry missing?
It's
in like
gathering
that part of the log,
yeah, and it's gathering rating because every big fish has a minimum gathering you need to hit in order for it to actually have a chance to successfully hook.
Yeah.
Little Paracos is the only one that has a pretty much confirmed, but no one's actually ever caught it at that level, 0 gathering rating.
There you go. That's personality right there.
Yeah.
So, and it's traits like that, like, and then thinking to your and anyone's individual again, Henotus grandis, that thing's got a personality. Durdina,
that's a good fish.
Felt like it had
Henotus is what I considered a well-designed fish.
I consider it my mortal fucking enemy until I caught it, but you know.
usually fish that I deem as well-designed is usually falling under the "you're my mortal enemy."
Yeah, I guess that comes with the territory.
Usually, the overlap is usually there between what I think is good and what other people think is absolute crap.
Yeah, and I think moon marking saucer at the very least is not the exact same as some of the other ones, which you know is a little bit of a reprieve.
It was different. Same with Takatoa. Which
Shine Copper Shark is also an interesting. I'd say Shine Copper Shark also has a personality, just because it's actually like ultra frequent and like regularly people fish up
slippery.
Like multiple, and it's very slippery at the same time. Like people will be like, I pulled up 4 Shine Copper Sharks in a window. Like,
yeah, I think the record's 8 right now.
But that's good. I like that. That's the personality of that shark.
I will say I would keep an eye on those fish and those fishing holes specifically. Going into the legendary windows because they might come into play. The Takatoa.
If Takatoa doesn't, then they were having a fucking laugh. If
they don't, I will forgive Fisher Dev for any transgressions they had for the ultimate troll that they've pulled off. But yeah, like Cenote Juyunja, Lake Teori, and Canal Town North are all fishing holes that you should keep an eye on, from what we can tell.
I guess for the discovery process, though, at the very least, that kind of starts to narrow because when a fish window is dependent on another fish's window, it drastically reduces the possibilities.
It reduces a lot of the stuff that we have to deal with, yeah. So that'll help make it. Plus, there was a newly discovered mooched fish in Mrhappy Zoo, which is the Riverlong Kandiru fishing.
Oh, okay. It's got a similar
driftwood
name to
catfish is now moochable as well. Typically, we don't see these until the legendaries come out. So the fact that we got them early is kind of a treat.
Yeah,
this is just more like into the seagrass of fishing stuff. This is like the weird things about fishing that like we know where the legends are ahead of time because of fish that are now moochable but aren't in places where they should have anything that they can mooch into. Is kind of this weird thing that we can use to be like, this is going to be where the legendary fish might be.
The legends. Hopefully the legends are interesting.
Which is a whole other thing. It's a cool concept too for those who don't know. Like legendary fish are the final fish added in every patch. After A Realm Reborn, and there's 1 per region, 1 per zone, and they are basically let's take all the rules, throw them out the window, and make a fish. they're novel is kind of the term that we've started using to describe legends instead of hard, because they're not necessarily challenging, they're novel, and the novelty of them, is that even a word,
It is
is
now.
what makes them
Yeah.
is what makes them a bit of a challenge, because they break the status quo, the behaviors that we kind of trained up to apply during Dawn Trail.
Novelty. There you go.
Yeah,
One less
that
syllable.
works.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because like when you don't fully understand the rules of how legends work, I know everyone is like, man, I can't wait for the legend to be a mooch off of Purse of Riches. And it's
That's not how those work.
that's not how those work. They don't do it in towns, or they've never done them historically.
They've never done them in towns. We have no indication that that's changing.
It'd be really fucked up if they ever did Purse of Riches as a mooch into a lead. That actually, I might actually be upset if they if they did that.
I don't know how I would feel about that.
Well, what would be funny is imagine if Purse of Riches mooching into a fish was a legendary. Purse of Riches, I mean, the legendary will come out July 28th, and then Purse of Riches will go
Or
away
September.
3 days later. No, well, I guess they could do
or-
7.56.
That's true, yeah,
7.55 is July, yeah.
The reason why we can't is usually for the past 2 expansions it's been 0.55 for legends, but if you go back even further into Stormblood, which was the last time we've had a 0.56 patch, that was when the legends were added in Stormblood, was in 0.56. That's why we don't know if they're going to just keep the tradition of 0.55 or if they're going to keep the tradition of the final content patch, which will be 0.56.
Yeah, but imagine if it was in 0.55 and then in Purse of Riches was a mooch and then it
It
was
just shows up and then leaves.
Yeah, it would literally show up in 30 days and then be like, all right, fuck you guys, I'm out.
Bye.
That would be
I would actually laugh at that.
You're
No,
like,
one
well, I
thing,
guess
yeah,
I
one
don't
of-
have a lot of work to do for the next 3 months.
Now, one thing I kind of wanted to go over is something where both of you actually have overlap, which is guide making. When it comes, Freddie, when it comes to making a fishing guide, how much of it is actual raw data and how much is it, okay, this needs to make sense to human beings? And what do you think it's harder, figuring out the systems or explaining them clearly?
It depends kind of on which system I'm talking about. Like, if we talk about the new lure skills, I have been floundering back and forth on how I want to do those guides for those 2 skills specifically for like months. I've just not had time to finish it and all that, but they're so deep and complex, or at least they can go deep and complex, that it's like, do I want to do 1 guide? Do I want to do 3 for each part? Like, how do I want to make that work? So for that type of system, it takes a little more time. If I'm doing like a here's how you catch a fish, I pretty much figured out how to do that regularly. Like, I can, once I catch it, I could have a guide out and uploaded within like 2 hours at most. Because the way that I'll treat the how to catch guides is I just assume that this is your first fish. I do that for like maybe 95% of the guides. I just assume it's your first fish. I'm going to tell you precisely what you need to do, because that's why those guides were originally made. I originally was putting these guides together to basically just answer the questions that people were getting in the fish cord of, how do I catch this fish? And then I can just go, here, watch the video, rather than let me type out the guide for like the 20th time this week. So it really does depend on kind of what it is and what I'm trying to teach. And it doesn't help, but also helps a little bit, that I have a master's degree in instructional design with a focus on online learning. So I have that extra layer of almost perfectionism in my blood, where I'm like, okay, well, I have to do it this way because it's instructionally the best way to make it work. And I am able to sneak in some more broader topics of like, hey, because this is a straight catch fish, you can do it this way. And then with the goal of eventually, if you watch enough of my guides, you start needing to not have to watch my guides, because you can just recognize what it is. So there is that layer to it too. It's weird. but
No,
it's
that makes sense to me.
it kind of just depends.
Yeah.
It's just like it depends on what it is.
Yeah, that sounds
When
like
you
guide
talk
making,
about
all right.
Yeah, when you talk about starting out guide making, when you're first, when you first started, um, for a lot of guide makers who kind of get into the game, it's kind of a non-monetized resource until they actually start to monetize it.
Mhm.
Does that responsibility ever get exhausting to you?
Get what again? Sorry, my.
Exhausting.
Oh yeah, totally. um, I mean, guides. I didn't actually start like when I started making the guides, I didn't monetize them at all. Like even when I had an
Mhm.
opportunity to, I didn't because I was working at a company that basically there would have been a lot of paperwork if I wanted to, and it would have not been a lot of money to make it to like fuss over the paperwork. So I didn't until I left that company, and then I turned it on. And even then, it's still not a ton of money. But I don't do it. I don't make the guides to make money. I do it because I enjoy it, which is kind of maybe a bit of a like cop out of an answer, but it
It's an
is.
answer.
It does get exhausting after a while being almost effectively the only person who's making guides on fishing or any sort of fishing content that isn't just like here's a video of me catching a fish, um and then being labeled as a guide. Those drive me nuts. But it's um that part gets a little exhausting when I'm the only person who's doing it. And I would welcome if somebody else wanted to start making fishing content. Like I will share all my tips and tricks with you, uh, to be able to do that, because I do get that sort of sense of responsibility to have a guide out quickly, which doesn't work for fishing because it takes time to find the fish. It takes time to, if we don't have the data, especially early on in the expansion, it takes time to figure out like is Zoger Condor the best way to get orange script? Is it the one that we should be recommending? Um, technically we never really ended up with numbers on those for like months, and I just kind of was just blindingly putting them out, saying, "Yeah, I think this is probably the right one." Um, so there is that sort of sense of responsibility and pressure to kind of come in and just be like, people are like, hey, where's the Fruity guide? Can someone tell me how to do this? Fruity doesn't have a guide yet. And that gets exhausting. But over the years, I've kind of also just been like, I'll get to it when I get to it. Like if you keep asking, it will come eventually, but it's not going to get here any quicker.
Yeah, that's fair. I was relieved when people started making more guides when I was making them. I was just like, I'm just here to provide an option. I'm not here to be the option.
That's basically what my current thought is like, I would love to be a option, not the option.
And this is kind of for both of you because again, you both make guides. How do you both avoid burnout when your hobby is pretty much becoming everybody else's resource?
Tell people to chill.
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you when I find out. I know for me, I think it's been very helpful to play other fucking games. Sorry to swear.
No, you're fine.
There was a Dawn Trail's launch for guide making was incredibly rough because we had so many people within days demanding like script guides, and me and somebody else had to keep going like, no, we don't know yet. At the time I wasn't even into like Shaolani yet. Like I hadn't even gotten that far because I was too busy working on the guides for the quests, which are way more pressing early on. And so to handle that whole pressure, I just kind of was like, all right, well, I'm just going to go take a break. And I just went and just played a bunch of other games that I've been meaning to play for a while. and I did that for a few weeks, and I still played 14 a little bit just to keep up to date on everything and to quietly work through, level some of the new stuff. And then by the time 7.1 came around, I was like, cool, I'm refreshed. I came in, and then I've just been able to go since then. And it's always been that balance of like, okay, if I'm saying I don't want to play 14 right now, I don't want to edit a guide, I just get up and I go sit on my couch, I boot up Moonlight, and I start streaming. I just start playing like another game like Hades 2 or something, or whatever I'm playing right now.
Hey.
Yeah, I do the same. That's when I went on my platinum journey. I was like, I want to play something else, but I also really want to get achievements. So I'm going to do some achievement hunting. And that's now bled back into 14, hilariously enough. It's gone reversed.
It's a full circle.
Way. Yeah. It's pretty much gone back. I mean, to be fair, 14 was one of the games I had to do my achievements in, so it was kind of inevitable that it would loop back around into what I was already doing. But it was interesting making chat help me make 5,000 collectibles when I had 0 collectibles.
That is actually kind of funny.
I was like, chat, somebody deliver me the maple that I need, and I'm going to make palm sugar. I'll make 5,000 palm sugars.
It is such an easy thing to gather, Happy. Oh my God.
It's even easier when other people do it for you.
Just buy it on the market board for it.
No, they went and gathered.
Fruity, don't encourage this, man. It's so easy.
I've got 600
Support
million
your local
gil.
economy,
I'm not trying to
Sly.
And put on a Netflix movie and just go in a freaking circle. It's that simple.
The good news is I made 20 million gil off that.
Yeah.
Because I didn't pay for any of the supplies, and I just sold all the materia from the purple scripts. It was great.
Early on, that's how you do it. That's what I did with fishing early on, because we didn't need any of the materia when I was doing my own like script testing, because I was farming just a bunch of stuff. Yeah, perfect. I would just take the script, buy the materia, sell it on the market board right at the start of the expansion, make 15, 20 mil. Fishing's great for scripts. If no one knew that. Fishing doesn't have much when it comes to like crafting and gathering, but if you need scripts, you go fishing.
Yeah. Like whenever I needed scripts, fishing was pretty much the easy option. I mean, there are still in terms of gatherers, I would still say fishing is the go-to option.
We have the numbers for that. I can guarantee you that fishing blows botany and mining out of the water. The only thing is that early on in the expansion, if you wanted to do materia farming through Spirit Bond, botany and mining was better, which is why a lot of people ended up going that route because of how they changed Spirit Bonding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I need some scripts. I gotta get the rest of my books for botany.
Thunderbolt trouts or Thunderbolt eels are up in 2 minutes.
Yeah, but I'm at
3 minutes.
I'm at 738 times fished in level 41 to 50 fishing holes, and
Wait.
The Fisher's Life for Me achievement. Got it.
Wait. You don't have your botany or mining books?
I don't have all the botany books. No,
I don't.
Mining books I bought the other day.
I don't think I do.
Yeah, I usually like take care of that shit like whenever I can.
I had to buy all the old books for every expansion like not long ago because I needed I needed the achievements for gathering every item once. So I just needed to go through.
Christ.
Yeah.
Get them all.
Yeah, whenever the books are out, I just get to it as soon as possible.
I think I got the botany and mining. I don't remember if I did. I might have because of just having excess scripts. But
yeah.
Speaking of scripts, because I know Happy, you've been doing this a lot. Ocean fishing is also an amazing way to get purple scripts.
It is.
Hell yes.
Under when you're not following one of two conditions, when you don't leave the stone scale boat immediately after failing to catch it in Z2.
Yes.
And when you don't deliberately not fish because you don't want to trigger the spectral before the stone scale.
Just don't reel in ferocious bites at that point.
I tell everyone on my boats, listen, don't reel in any triples, but if you have a trigger finger, I want you to sit your ass in the center of this boat, okay? I don't want to see the hook in the line at all. I don't want to see nobody being like, I'll just catch my intuition fish real quick. Like, no.
Yeah.
I'm the party lead. Get over here and we're going to gather around the campfire in the center of the boat.
Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna talk about ocean fishing. Your question's gonna be better.
No.
I was gonna say ocean fishing has kind of become that gateway into fishing. A lot of people will go ocean fishing. They'll be like, hey, I've just leveled up via ocean fishing. What do I do now? And then we get to go, aha, welcome to the rest of the game. You get a lot of people come in. It's like, I don't know what any of these things do. I just got to 100. What do I do now? We get to explain that, and they're like, there's so much more. You mean there's more? You mean there's fish I didn't catch on that boat?
Sure is.
And we're like, yeah, not intentionally. So you have like the fables and all that stuff, and it's always been fun. Like when Mogtome comes around, or this past patch when they brought in the new route and then surprised everybody with a minion. We had no indication that was coming. I woke up to that and someone was like, oh, I think this is a minion because it's in 2 different fishing holes, ocean fishing. And we're just like, what does this mean? And then we looked it up and they were like, oh, it's actually a minion. And then I don't think I've ever seen anybody ocean fishing for so long since launch of ocean fishing back in Shadow
And
Raiders.
people actually do the Ruby route now is probably the biggest change.
And people actually are doing the Ruby route now, which is great because no one did it beforehand.
Yep. They sure didn't.
Nope.
I did not. When they eventually raise the ocean fishing point achievement, I think I'm going to get it instantly.
I know a few people who will probably get it instantly, even if they put it up at like, because right now it's 3 mil. I think the expectation is 5 or 10 for the next one if they ever add one. I know a few people who, if they put it up to like even like 15, 20, they'll get it instantly.
I ain't gonna go that. Don't do that, by the way. Don't do that.
Don't you love ocean fishing?
I mean, I felt like he was kind of Stockholm syndrome into loving ocean
No,
fishing.
I was so glad to be done with ocean fishing when I did it. I just needed the title. I needed it.
Mm-hmm.
I like doing the
drugs.
achievements for the ocean. Like I like doing the get 8 people together boats and you know aim for 300 mantis a soul. Aim for 300 whatever
Prehistoric
sharks.
creatures.
Yeah, I like those.
Yeah,
those are well-designed, good achievements.
Those were genuinely good and surprising achievements. Like, and I think they're really good achievements that support what the community does now of, you know, just community cooperation and working together. Like, you don't see those types of achievements in much other content, but like the closest equivalent, I think I saw some people talking about it in chat. The closest you get to it is like raids would be the closest we have. Like their fish raids, maybe if you want to squint to accept that. So I think they're really good achievements and they're a ton of fun. And I still have a bunch more I have to get on my alts.
I just need my prehistoric one and I'm done. I'm waiting till Akupara. Once Akupara is caught, I'll do the prehistoric because they overlap. So I'm just like, no.
Oh yeah.
One of these I'll get in like 1 or 2 tries probably, and the other is
prehistoric should be relatively quick because we did that. I was in the group that got the world first on that one. We don't really track world first, but we do kind of lightly say like, hey, here's the first time we've done it. And we thought we missed it, and then we ended up being like 50 over. So prehistoric is actually, I think, pretty fair for an achievement. I think it's up in like a few hours too.
Yep, Akupara. I think Akupara is in 5 minutes, and the prehistoric's in 4 hours. I think it's on one of the 2 Akuparas. I think it's only.
Well, no, if it's an Akupara boat, it's a prehistoric boat.
Oh, it's always prehistoric. Then it should be in 5 minutes and 4 hours.
Oh,
there should
well, in
be-
that case, that's our show, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I'm not even
One
getting
last
on
question
that
in
iPhone,
regards to content making or guide making. Freddie, you talked about kind of being a perfectionist, and do you ever feel any pressure knowing that if something's off in the guide that because thousands of fishers are looking to you, that you're gonna spawn the ire of a fisher or get like some DMs, or fishers are gonna suffer because of it?
I don't worry about that as much. Not like I'm going to get people angry at me. It's more of, I think I'm more worried that I'm going to do, and I've done this multiple times. Uh, I will forget to like swap out an image because I have a bunch of placeholders. I have everything templated out, and I'll forget to swap out an image or a name, or I'll forget to fill in the conditions. I've done that all. Um, that I'm more worried about than anything else. There was one time I released a guide and I just got the strategy wrong, just straight up, because that was on me. That was back in Shadowbringers. It was one of my first guides, and ever since then I've been really a bit more patient and a little bit more. I do, instead of double checking, I always triple check, make sure everything's spelled correctly. Especially in this expansion, I want to make sure that I'm spelling everything correctly. And I'm less concerned now about if me saying something and someone being like, oh, this strategy sucks, it's not how you do it, you should be doing it this way, because kind of going back to it, I'm the only person putting out strategy guides. I could tell people one way to do it and they'll be like, yeah, that's great. And so that pressure I feel, because I want to make sure that I'm giving everybody the correct guide from the start. I don't want to be just putting out crap and being able to put out crap because I'm the only person who's doing it. I don't want to do that. I want to make sure that I'm putting out the right guides. But whether or not I get something wrong after that, that kind of went out the window after Shadowbringers started, because we got new skills, strategies changed. I didn't have time to redo and recatch the fish to redo the strategy guide. So every now and then I get a comment on one of my guides saying, hey, I found this to be a better way of doing this. And I go, you're right, I just haven't updated the guide yet. and go from there. And that's perfectly fine, because that's just how this community works. Is we, if someone comes and says, hey, this is what we got, is this better? We kind of go, no, here's why. Or, oh, maybe actually, and then we test it and we go, yeah, actually, if we do this and this, then it's better. And we kind of work together on those guides. So a lot of these guides are not just me saying, here's what you do. It's me and running it by other people, testing it, seeing what other people are saying, and going, this is kind of the general guide for everything.
Yeah, that's especially prevalent because Ambitious and Modest just changed a ton of fish. Like the way you do so many old fish has effectively
and
just
Spareful
completely
Hand
changed.
actually,
and Spareful Hand too.
And Spareful Hand, like those 3 skills, I think before I moved to a new tracking software for all of my guides, because that's how many I plan out ahead, is I need to keep track of which ones I'm going to be doing, because I need to schedule the times to catch them. Before I moved to my new system, I think my list was like 60 fish would have needed to get updated if I wanted to stay on top of that. And I started doing a few of them, and I was just like, I'm not going to be able to do this in the expansion. By the time I get to that, by the time I'm done, it's going to be 8.0, and it's just going to happen again.
Then they could have new skills. Yeah. Just wait till Slap 2 for 300 GP.
We don't need a Slap. We don't need Slap 2.
I'm telling you. What if it's, dude, what if they added a mooch slap?
See, that's my trap card right there. I will tell you why we don't need a.
I'll tell you why we don't need it too.
We need lures for mooches. We don't need mooch slap.
Ruby Dragon's like sweating in the corner, like, what?
So usually when someone's like, we need a mooch slap because the Ruby Dragon would then become super easy. Cool, it's granted, but it cancels the current mooching opportunity, and you can't use swim bait. You can't use it for Ruby. It's looking at 8.0 stuff, like there's a lot of stuff that I'm like, now that they've announced Evolved, mode for stuff, and they're like, that's purely combat right now. But I'm waiting to see if they say anything about the crafters and gatherers. And if they say something about crafters and gatherers, that is going to change my next 9 months of guide making. If they don't say anything, then I'm going to kind of keep doing what I'm doing usually, which will do the legendary fish, and then I enter into what I call my shitpost era, which is where I do all the really funny and dumb things that I wanted to do the entire expansion, like rating dungeons based on their fishability. And so like that, I'm waiting to see if they say anything about that in Berlin.
I'm waiting for the God, what are they called? The would or would not fish video.
Oh no.
He's like would.
Oh no, that I hadn't thought of that.
Would not. Would.
Write that down.
Because everyone can have their own version of that.
Oh boy, we usually do tier lists. We have once the new legendary fish come out, I'll update the fish wheel, which is I put that out at the end of every expansion, where it's like, if you don't know which fish to go for, press the button.
Yo, the name of that video, Smooch or Mooch.
That is. All right, one sec. Let me write that down. I'll add that to the list of ideas.
Adding it, because somebody in my YouTube chat said would smooch, would not smooch, and I was like, oh no,
Mooch or Mooch. That's a good one.
Smooch or Mooch. That's
I was thinking about doing a triple triad tournament, but it's only cards that are fish related.
Okay.
How many cards are those?
Enough.
That'd be a limited deck, I think.
Enough. Leviathan's there. I mean,
you just need Leviathan. Let's see. Fish themed triple triad cards. 31.
Really?
Okay.
I feel like it's more than that.
Maybe not so limited. Okay.
I mean, and that was me being like Sapphire Weapon. It looked fishy.
Sahagins are going to be on there.
Sahagin is there.
Ultros.
Octomammoth, Genbu, Mistbeard, Kraken, Charbert. Because Charbert is the fish that Charbonnet is named after. Loporits, because they have fish named after them. Fouth, because it's a toad. By law of Final Fantasy 14 fish, it is a fish. And then you got a bunch of other ones
then
too.
Birds can start counting too, because I'd catch a fucking condor.
I drew a slight line on that one. Like Deadly Dandan from The Merchant's Tale.
Oh,
Noctis,
God.
the Noctis card, like those, because he's a fisher. That was it. So I think the biggest stretch I have is the Gosetsu card, and the only reason he's listed is because he was once seen fishing.
He was once seen fishing, yeah.
So like that's the thing that I'll probably do with the community at some point after the thing dies down with the other events that I'm planning.
And then there's Smooch or Mooch.
And I'll throw Smooch or Mooch onto the drawing board, and we'll take it back there and see what happens. Take it to the boys.
Now I know we're kind of getting close to time, but I had a few more questions. One to kind of rapid fire out just to get your takes on them. What is the most unhinged DM you've ever received from either the Fish Court or a fellow fisherman in 14?
Does it have to be a DM or just message?
A message, yeah. You don't have to think too hard.
So the most unhinged and weirdest one that happened was I was in a Zodiark fight. I think it was like a roulette during Endwalker, and someone recognized me in game mid fight and went, oh, Fruity Snacks, the fish guy, you saved my life. Promptly died. In game. Just promptly died in game. I was just like not that time I didn't.
Nope.
That was just funny. But in terms of like unhinged, outside of people just being creepy with fish theories that are like, and just being stubborn. Nothing too weird, which is I feel like I'm due, but also kind of thankful for that.
That's a good thing. Yeah, that's a good
I
thing.
haven't
for
gotten
you.
like super duper weird ones. I was on my alt yesterday, and someone liked my alt's name and the bio that I gave the characters. The character's named Warm Water Trout, because all my fish alts have either my name or a fish name. And the bio is affected by the Baja Blast, and they thought I was talking about Mountain Dew. And so we just had this conversation about Mountain Dew when I was actually talking about the Umbral Calamity because it didn't fit in the bio or something. That one was that was just more so wholesome. But yeah, I don't really get really weird unhinged comments that aren't just like people trying to tell me that I'm wrong. And
That's
even
fair,
then,
and
those are rare.
that's fair, and that's probably a good thing for now. For now.
Oh yeah.
A few more.
Please do not consider this an invitation to those who are listening.
Yes, please don't. Please have some decency. A few more rapid fires. You talked about fish having personalities. Which fish in 14 has the worst attitude?
Purse of Riches doesn't have any work ethic because it goes on vacation all the time.
That's probably a really good answer. That's probably the best answer. If you had to describe the fishing community using one fish, what fish is it?
Shit. That's pretty wrong. Panic. Oh, duh. All right.
Because it's the FanFest fish?
No, because they're all right.
Okay. and last one, what is the one you had to be there moment for you in 14 fishing?
Like for personal achievements or just
personally, like your one you kind like the one you would say, hey, you had to be there for this.
Eorzean Aquarian opening was probably the number one because we went into that. We had spent 28 days putting this aquarium together, 20 some odd rooms, caught almost 200 fish. I posted it on Twitter back then. It was still Twitter, and posted it. And we were like, yeah, we'll get 50 people. I had, dinner plans and D&D game that night. We were like, yeah, we'll get 50 people in the next, 4 hours. We'll call it a night and we'll just move on and it'll exist in the world. We got 50 people immediately, 1,000 probably in the first 24 hours, and then probably about 1,500 after that for over the next week.
Jeez.
Yeah, that one was a bit wild. The next one would have probably been Soken retweeting stuff about Fish Fest 2 years ago. Because I genuinely broke talking. Someone was like, hey, Fruity, I think Soken just retweeted your latest post about Fish Fest. And I was just like, hold on. Can you say that again? And then we promptly got like 200 people who showed up to our thing and we capped out an instance for about an hour.
There you go.
That's a good rapid fire.
Yeah.
Those are good questions. I'm gonna have to steal those too.
Yeah, that's all I got.
That sounds good. Yeah. It's been a good episode, some good insights into fish and the history of it. It's far more in depth than I think most people are expecting it to be.
It's deep. Yeah, it's deep. Please expect that coming in. It's also as deep as you want to go. That's the other thing too. You don't have to dive in if you don't want to.
I have one final question before we start doing our outros. Something to add on similar method to Sly, but not nearly as interesting of a question. When do we get big spearfishing.
Oh,
Oh,
God, I
God.
hope we get that at some point. That would be great. I would love that. I think spearfishing, we got nothing for spearfishing in terms of skills this
Mhm.
expansion. We didn't get any
Yep.
traits. We only got new fish. I would love to see them do something more with spearfishing in 8.0, even though so far the environment doesn't look like we will have much for that, but who knows? I would love to see big spearfishing though. I think make that its own separate achievement track even, and that would be a ton of fun.
Wonder how you do that. How do you even go about manage? You need more skills, I think, is what it comes down to.
I think you would need a few more skills,
Yeah.
but also the skill set for spearfishing right now is kind of on par with the skill set for like a Realm Reborn Heavensward era big fish, and they were able to do it there. So
yeah, I guess technically, as long as there's weather at a time frame and a fish that its shadow
and
doesn't
time,
show
yeah.
up, then
Yeah. I mean,
technically
there is one timed fish, so like there is precedence for that.
Yeah.
A one-time spearfish, so a couple, I think maybe. But no, I would love to see big spearfish, even if it's like one per region. It's just like legendary spearfish. Like give them to me.
I'm sure you're already thinking of, I need 9 fish to trigger the intuition. I spear 8 of them, wait for the window, pull up intuition when the weather changes, and then rush to try
Have
to
your
get the rest.
GP, all that other stuff. Yeah.
Maybe it'll happen. Maybe one day.
Yeah, I'll take it.
But with
I'll
that,
be ready.
thanks for taking this. All right. Well, thanks for taking the time to. Thanks for taking the time to talk about fishing on State of the Realm here. Glad that we could find a time that worked. Wasn't very hard, but I'm glad it worked out that we were able to get you on for this week. So thank you for your insights and for your work as someone who's used them quite a bit.
You are welcome, and thank you for having me. Thank you for reeling me on in.
There we go. Well, with that, we usually give everyone a chance to do an outro where they can find you, what you're currently working on, and what your plans are for the future. So the floor is yours, Fruity.
Oh, you can find me on YouTube at Fruity Snacks, on Bluesky and Twitter at Fisher Fruity, and on Twitch at A Fruity Snacks. I'm currently working on not getting out of the pile of videos that I have going on, but I have a bunch of guides coming out. I'm working on some more skill specific guides coming out. I got some more of my own long, medium form discussions where I just talk about random fishing topics that are coming out too. And if you're going to be in the St. Louis area or an Atlanta area, I'll be at Gateway Fate and DragonCon this year as well for those events, doing fish things. I mean, I can tell you that Gateway Fate, I'll be there doing the aquarium meetup again. And I have panels on fish. Anything fishing related, I'm your guy.
Next time that I attend an aquarium meetup, I don't know if I should bring it or if we should do it. I was doing my own little scavenger hunt for the fish at the recent one to see which ones matched the in-game fish. Like if I could find the proper ones.
I was planning, or I was trying to do that for this one. But I ran out of time, and it's a little difficult to do because what they have online isn't always what they have on display.
Okay.
And so that was a bit of the challenge. But that is now for Gateway Fate. I'm going to do something for that, and any other aquarium meetups that I might or might not be doing in the next year, in other locations that I have not announced. I will also be looking into doing those as well. Yeah.
Fish tour.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna miss the tour. What tour? The world tour.
The whole tour. Yeah, I'm actually going to be announcing the Fruity Snacks World Tour, and it's just at aquariums.
Aquariums, like, there's a big uptick in people going to aquariums this year. What's going on, guys? Statistically speaking. It's all good. Well, thank you again for taking the time and for your hard work and effort. It does not go unnoticed. And with that, Sly, you know how our outro normally goes. You go first.
Sure. You can find me at twitch.tv/Sly, aka Gray Fox. Yes, I do stream. I still have people coming in even after how many years of doing the show, and they're like, Sly, you stream? According to my raid lead, no, I don't. Sly doesn't stream. But yeah, I've only been streaming for like 13 years. Sure.
It's not that long.
So yes, I do stream. Yeah. Hell, I'm streaming after this, directly after this. So you can come by, say hi, use your words, use your outside voice. You can find me on Twitter at Sly, aka Gray Fox, Bluesky, same thing. YouTube.com/thevelvetroom. Right now, playing some, other than trying to climb the ladder in PvP, playing some Coffee Talk Tokyo, which just came out, playing Zero Parades, the kind of spiritual successor to Disco Elysium, which just came out, really fun. Kind of gearing up for Summer Game Fest in about a week and a half, a couple of weeks. With all the hot scoops and everything, I'll be doing coverage of that and just being here and streaming because yes, Sly does stream.
Should be the name of the channel instead.
Happy?
Sly does stream.
They still wouldn't follow. Happy, where can everybody find you?
You find me Mr. Happy 1227, just achievement hunting as of late. I'm now, the fish is slowing down because I'm down to my final 5. So I don't have to spend all that much time fishing, but I do still have several fishing achievements. I still need to get my Luminary. I still need to get the 3000 gathering and all the expansions, which shouldn't be too bad outside of Heaven's Ward. And I need my Diadem fish plus Cosmic plus the Diadem 500,000. Not that all of that's what I'm working on at the moment, but it's on the list.
The fish never end.
The fish really do.
You're here
end.
forever.
Yeah. I did not catch Vagrant Keeper during stream. He slipped again. So I still have that going for me. But tomorrow is Sidereal Whale. Tomorrow is Cinder's Surprise. Ruby Dragon is at the end of the weekend. And then I've got a week of fish before Ultimate, which I will be going 12 to 16 hours a day for the first week. Whether or not I clear it, not going longer than a week at those hours. After that, it falls to just being whatever nights are available until it actually gets done. So fingers crossed that get it done in less than a week. But given it's the top developer, yeah. I don't know.
Good luck.
Yeah, I don't know if I should feel better or worse about that fact because I'm very, very afraid. But with that, we are going to go on into a short post show. And then I'm going to go play Fire Emblem Three Houses, probably. So I can try to get that done before Fortune's Weave comes out as well. So thanks everyone for joining. We will just hang out for a few minutes longer. And then we will all see you in our respective streams and or content when the time comes. So thanks again, Fruity, for joining. And we will see you all next week. Until then, bye-bye.
See you soon.
Bye, guys.